I'm live. You know what I'm talking about? You do. Now, the topic of my discussion, and I do mine, questions and statements. Questions and statements. Statements, you know what I'm talking about? It's a lot of questioning and a lot of statement and explaining going on. For those that are supposed to be beasts, you know what I'm talking about? Beast talk? I didn't know beast talk. Talking and telling. Telling. I am the hood reader. You know what I'm saying? I've earned a new title. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I said, I was sitting here like a day or two ago, right? Now I was just saying, I'm about to do an industry reading. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to put it out there. Industry reading. Just like that. Pow! Right in your face. Like Ace. You know what I'm talking about? Just right there. They say, either is strange and unusual. Yes, I am. I do agree. Y'all, listen. I gotta tell my real partners, you know what I'm talking about this dream that I had. I don't know if it was last night or this morning, because my dreams be like in segments. You know what I'm talking about? I started off with a, oh no, right? I started off with a, oh no, and I'm like, I ain't gonna get into that, you know what I'm saying? Because, oh no, you know what I'm talking about? I started off with a, oh no, and then it just shifted, right? And I was in the dream with a Kino, right? And he sat down on the bed and he was talking, right? And I'm doing what I do the Sifino way, you know? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, this is different. I think it's different, but it might be the same. You know what I'm talking about? And he say, Itch, I already told you. I said, what? I turned around, I said, look me in my eyes. You know what I'm talking about? On some real Demonosikina type ish. You know what I'm talking about? Look me in my eyes and say that. And he turned his head to me, and then all of a sudden his eyes looked like a portal. And then all of a sudden, Dalman said, Onakina sisa shikitino sifio. And I was out of there. You know what I'm talking about? And I woke up, I was like, wait a minute. Put me back in there. He said, Ish, I already told you. And I said, what? You told who? Me? You ain't told me nothing. But the person that's standing in front of you, you may have. People be calling on me. You know what I'm talking about? They be like, Archangel Ether, I need you when I go to sleep. And I be like, don't hear them. You know what I'm talking about? And all of a sudden, I'm just, next thing you know, I'm in somebody's body. You know what I'm talking about? I said, look me in my eye. I was about to go stab on him. I told y'all, I don't know what I be when I be asleep. You know what I'm talking about? I said, the big G, if I gotta do this, I gotta do this right. You know what I'm talking about? If I gotta be all up in the dream state, you know what I'm saying? All inexperienced and whatnot, you know what I'm talking about? You gotta make me something that's gonna defeat everything, Just miraculously. Whoever was there did not have no fear, y'all. Listen, because some of y'all like me. I'm talking about the angels that don't know they archangels. Some of y'all gonna be in the street and you gonna realize that it's not you. But it's not you. I had that happen the first time. I woke up and I was speaking on a kino. And then all of a sudden, Kataga say, I told you, do not call me. And I said, what? Because these ones, they like to use demonology. All right? So y'all don't understand. Y'all say either be out there saying all kind of stuff. Y'all don't know that these MOFOs be doing all kind of stuff. They be calling on demons that they get from a demonology book. All right? And since I'm a cherub, they don't respond to me like they want them to. You know? Even some in the body, some in bodies don't do that. The real beasts and savages that's walking amongst this earth. It's the Anakinos, the ones that have been trained in their sleep to Asikina come at you unexpectedly. That happened early on in my teens and in my young adult years. That type of stuff don't happen now, especially not since I ascended. It just don't happen. It's just like I wake up, all my problems gone, you know? It's a beautiful thing. So, to the individual that reached out to me, you missed the boat, you know? You missed the boat. I know you on the 13, you know? You missed the boat. I was there, now I'm somewhere else, you know what I'm talking about? You missed the boat. You can't be waiting. If you're gonna request a reading, you got to do it right then and there, because once I'm Hottie 5000, I'm Hottie 5000. You know what I'm talking about? So if I get the email, which I got it, but I didn't. You know, I got it, but I didn't read it because I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? So if you, yeah, if you, some of y'all gonna say, okay, wait a minute, we on to something. Because you see that no connection down there. You get a notification, ding! Especially if you a business person. You get a notification, it's an email. You see the notification, you click on it, you go inside, and no email. I'm trying to tell y'all be feeling like I'm creating stuff. I'm just telling you how my life is, because that's my position, that's my role, to help those of you out. Now, let me tell you something. There was a meeting of the minds early this morning. I know that. All the archangels know that. And some of you celebritize is questioning, were you really there? Your being was there, but your body wasn't. So this is your confirmation. Because as I was leaving, I seen a few faces. A few faces. It's sort of like there was a reader years ago. Monumental readers stick with me, okay? Ones that help facilitate me into this position are priceless. She said in one of her readings that she's seen a lot of us in the 12th dimension. She didn't know that the 12th dimension was a prison. That does not belong to the angels like she thinks. So you know what I did? I freed everyone that was an archangel from the 12th dimension. Y'all don't get it. The stuff that is documented for a reason. If it would become the Binio, the Bible, okay, what y'all consider truth, then y'all would recite this stuff and make it true for where you're at. And that's not a good thing to do for beings. When I said a lot of y'all is hobnobbing with your past life enemies, I meant that. I'm somebody that's been talking about reincarnation and incarnation. You could come through an enemy. Your enemy could give birth to you. You know, you can give birth to your enemy. This is how it is. This is really how it is. It's not that other readers don't pick up on an incident that I'm aware of or that I'm in. Is that they're not telling their part the way they're supposed to tell it. You can't tell it like me because you're not an elect one. You have to tell it the way you're supposed to tell it. And then the ones that are supposed to gravitate towards you is going to gravitate towards you. towards the middle-ish, kind of in the beginning, there was a lot of readers that were naturally in sync with me. They would say some of my sayings and all of that. I wasn't tripping off of that. It's the ones that go and copy what I'm saying. I said that we learn from each other. If I'm talking about a reader and another reader know who that is, they already know who the problem is, since they understand I'm not the problem. That's what I told y'all I'm here to do. I'm here to clear it all up. And that's what I'm doing. If you know that you are a unique reader, then you know that you got eyes on you and people want to be you. They want your gifts. They want your they want your craft. Now it was a few. It was a few. I say a handful that I encounter that are monumental readers. What they're doing now, I don't know, because I haven't watched them in years. I started watching other content. I started watching hauls, makeup. I went back into the hair genre because you don't always want to be weighed down with a whole bunch of heavy stuff. So I started watching other stuff. What I started to notice is they helped me ascend to a higher height. And then I was able to master my craft. Now it's their turn. When I told y'all that y'all were present in a plane that you wasn't supposed to be in because someone ascended before you, now y'all understand why your channel stopped. You stop picking up traffic. Those of you that was multidimensional that wasn't supposed to be, that's a part of it. People be like, oh, you're multidimensional, woo, 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 woo. Sometimes you're not meant to be multidimensional. You still got something that you gotta do in that dimension. And that means you gotta accumulate finances. You gotta accumulate stuff before you start going somewhere else. Because what if you go somewhere else and you ain't got no money? You ain't got no money. You ain't got no family. Your family done turned on you. You know, it's all kind of stuff. Ascension is not all butterflies and roses and all of that type of stuff. It's hard to go through ascension, especially if you're going through a multitude of ascensions in different places every day, all day. I said in this body, I've been ascending my whole life, and I have. You got to get to a certain point before you can enter into a paradigm shift ascension. It's not just, oh, you know, I got $1,000 and now I'm a candidate for ascension. Oh, I studied chakras and now I can ascend, or I did a third eye meditation and now I'm awakened enough to be able to. Sometimes you too awaken and it's going to make you ill. When I said you are open channel and that's not a good thing, that means you're too pure. That means everything that's out there that you don't know nothing about can tap in. You don't want everything out there. Y'all calling on psychomps and stuff in these demonology books. Don't even know that what you calling on because somebody done put it there to fool you and trap you. Y'all talking about hedges and y'all witches and stuff. Y'all don't even know that's not even associated with our universe. Everybody was perplexed on that. And when I cleared it up, it's possibly behind the scenes, you know. When I cleared it up, that meant it was freed. Stop calling yourself hedges because y'all hear me say a hedge and this and that. You not no hedge. You're not a supreme being. Y'all feel like all of this stuff is here where you at. And it's not. Just like I talked about I talked about Noah's Ark, the flood, the dinosaurs and stuff like that. Y'all know that is real because it's in the Bible, right? But y'all not aware that that's not where we at. Now some of you can understand that. It's open to a certain group of people. If I explain to y'all that my whole life I grew up Pentecostal, right? That means I lived a structured life. My grandparents followed a structured doctrine. When I got into my teens, I started becoming curious about astrology. When I got into my early adulthood, that's when I was told by someone that if you are a Christian, you're not supposed to You're not supposed to know what your zodiac sun sign is and this and that and that and this. This was information that someone told me because they were a heathen. I didn't know that. They don't say your grandparents and your parents is not gonna sit there, and mine's didn't, and for my era, and say don't study astrology, don't ask about the cosmos. You get taught about the seven sins and that's it. Here we go with that Eastern Needle. You get taught you get taught about you get told about that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Because the doctrine is structured for you to follow a certain belief so you don't become awakened. And then you teach it to your offspring, and then next thing you know, everybody walking around in the trance. And it's not for you. When I said saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost and all of that stuff, that's for my grandparents' era. That's not for us. This is why you're not going to find nobody saved and sanctified in the church. And if they are, they mothers of the church. And once they see all the heathens sitting in the front row, they're not going to want to sit next to their greased down legs. I'm trying to tell you, they're going to try to put you in a prayer circle, and then that Ife Kino going to jump off of you. And then the pastor going to yell out, hallelujah! And everybody going to start clapping. Y'all, the heathen has left the church. Hilabasha, hasha, hasha. When Judge Mathis said he don't need to go to church, ain't nothing wrong with him. Y'all was all right with that. But if I say I don't need to go to church, you know what I'm saying? The church is for the disgusting, low down, dirty. You know what I'm saying? That's what them, the ones that don't know right from wrong. You know, I was taught, I was reared that way. So you know, my grandmother ain't looked at me and said, don't look up your zodiac sun sign. She probably don't even know what a zodiac sun sign is. And she lives a structured life. It's for them. We are the more advanced era. I go back and forth through the timelines. You know, and some of y'all do too. All the interesting readings I put behind the scenes, I put up on the high tiers. Because with 4, 5, or 6, you get your own reading. You'll start understanding your part in this whole debauchery. Sometimes this is somebody that you sit next to. And if you are angelic, that's not a good place to be. You know, it's not like in 2000, and for some of y'all the 80s, where everybody walking around and everybody on the same belief. Whether or not if you're in the streets, you know, doing whatever, it's not like that. You got real deal Enifinos talking in their minds to things that they believe are demons. Could you imagine sitting next to somebody, you driving, you know, and they eating, you know what I'm saying, a burrito or something, and then, you know, all of a sudden they put their hand on your Glock. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait a minute. You know? Because somebody done told them in their mind he the one. Y'all think I'm playing. Y'all think I'm playing. They be sitting there, you be talking about they fire on the mic. You know what I'm saying? Because that's that Demonosikana spitting, not him. I'm trying to tell y'all. And then you be like, he lost it. No, that Demonosi got lifted off of him because he encountered an archangel. Now he ain't got no flows, no beat, no rhythm. He just sitting there looking, talking about ism. Y'all, it's funny to me because I know who is supposed to be archangels. Who's supposed to be archangels, despite what y'all feel their current occupation is. And when I see stuff, I be laughing because some of y'all be riding that fine line. It's like a thin line y'all be on, you know. You want to show somebody that you're not the one to play with, but you still hold on. Like in Vogue, I'm still holding on. And then your spiritual spouse somewhere saying, this is the reason why I can't talk to him. Because he's saying stuff like this. And then you get put way over there, and she get put way over there with somebody else that's going to say that's my wife. I'm trying to tell you, because the ones that come before you, you know, them HELL razors, they don't be playing. You know, you start messing up, boy, they say, you know, look, I told you should have did this, because they feel like they can pick their spouse, that is their wife. They feel like that, and they can. So that means, you know, you're going to miss your boat. Talking about that ism. The next thing you know, you're gonna be like, F it, you know, I still got resources. And then she gonna get off in the car, sit in the passenger seat. You gonna smell feet, booty, and ish. And you gonna say, things is different. And then you gonna wonder if that smell gonna leave the seat after she get out. And I'm gonna say, no, it's not. No, it's not, because that is a constant reminder of what you shouldn't do. You're going to be driving, and then the smell just going to crawl up your nose, and you're going to roll all the windows down. It's going to get worse. I'm just telling you. So you heard it from me first. You know what I'm talking about? I be telling y'all, when y'all sin, you can't do stuff like you used to do it. You know, some of y'all got married, so it saved you. You know? You got married, got caught cheating about 10 times, you know? And she prayed for you, she saved you. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the case right now. You ascended. You under God's command now. And I do mean the big G, not the little one. You know what I'm talking about? He do miraculous things, you know? 1 minute you got money in your account, and then the next it's gone. You know what I'm saying? You just like, wait a minute, what happened? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna complain to? Who you gonna isikina? Because, you know, if you do that, you go into the hoosegow. That person gonna be sitting there saying, hey, you know, and if you start twitching and stuff, she just gonna call the Isipinos on you. You know what I'm saying? 5-0. I'm just trying to tell y'all the future. If you know that you are HELL razor, you're going to say, either they're not going to do that to me because I'm one of them. And I'm going to say, you are mistaken. You are mistaken. Because Jesus Bazel, he going to be like, that's my brother. Because you're not one of them yet. You one of them, but you're not really. He going to be like, that's my brother, and my brother got raped. And you know you're going to be mad. You're going to be wanting to call Jesus because you got a Sinky Tino chasing you. And you're going to be like, nah, I ain't finna call him. Y'all been around here saying y'all 13. What's in Sikino Social Security because you're Hispanic. They may have told you that you are 13. But when it come down to placement and making sure that they brothers got their spiritual spouse that's soon to be their wife, they're going to say, that's my brother. Because you're not one of them yet. And they know that a lot of y'all is hard-headed. And you're going to walk that fine line, right, until you ain't got no options. I seen it before. You know, you just sitting there, just walking that fine line, and your spiritual spouse, like, your spiritual spouse that is your wife. You're not your spiritual person, because some of y'all promised to the same gender. You know what I'm talking about? Listen. Y'all do not know what is out there. You sitting there walking that fine line, you know, and you like, Weeble might wobble, but she don't fall down. And I'm like, yes, she do. Yes, she does. He's sitting there trying to figure out how, one day, you just have a account full of money and then the next is just gone. You know what I'm saying? Because some people think they safe and they not, you know? If you like me, you just, you're gonna be sitting in your car, right? And you're just gonna be like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I am from the hood anyway, so it don't matter. But other people, they're gonna be having all kind of breakdowns. You know, you might want to put a dollar sign on that breakdown or not. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on how froggy you is. Me, I'm real froggy. When I say I'm hungry, I mean that. Like, stomach be growling, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, some of y'all be hearing it and y'all still don't be seeing it, CAing me, you know what I'm saying? Then you go sit down and eat steak and roaches of the sea, you know? You know what I'm talking about? I'm sitting talking about I'm hungry. Then you encounter somebody that's starving, you know what I'm saying? I'm hungry, but he's starving, you know what I'm saying? What you gonna give it to, me or him, you know what I'm talking about? I only want $20. He want everything in your pocket, you know what I'm saying? Y'all, did I tell y'all, right? I was in my early adult, but I was still a teen. I was like 18 or something like that, 19. And I was just chilling, chilling like a villain, like for real, like a real villain. Then all of a sudden, we all in the park, you know what I'm saying, just chilling. All of a sudden, somebody come in, go up to my partner, and she like, woo, 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 woo. And then she pull out a smacker, a thumper, you know what I'm saying? And my partner said, what? This is a female. The next thing you know, thumper on the ground, all the ECFino, her tools and resources is on the ground, you know what I'm talking about? She on the ground, and everything gone, you know what I'm saying? Just like that, everything, all of everything on the ground gone except her. You know what I'm talking about? I say that to say, just because you have one don't mean you're going to get a chance to use it. You know what I'm talking about? I have seen some, when I say whop, it should be a pow and a bam after that. Whop, pow, bam. Because that's what it looked like. I imagine now she doesn't see that as an option. That is miraculous, because everybody assumes because they have one, they're safe, safe. Not that day, just because, that brawl or run kick in. And then next thing you know, something done jumped in your body and said, you the one that's safe. And next thing you know, you're hitting like Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm talking about? All of that just shattered, all of it. That whole right side, just gone. Yeah. Some of y'all done seen it. This is the type of stuff that happens in the hood. You know what I'm saying? In urban development. Yeah. Can we get some real hood stories? I said all her tools and resources was gone. You know what I'm talking about? I know, because I know who took them. Yeah. Some of y'all have not lived as long as me, so you haven't lived long enough to see things like that happen. Then, you may be somewhere where you're safe. You're not out and about in the mix, wiggling. You know what I'm talking about? If you're not out and about wiggling and politicking and all of that stuff, you don't know what I'm talking about. You know, there was a time when I felt like I needed to go backwards. Because when I wiggled, that was my safe place. And I'm not talking about walking. That was my safe place. I said, if something happened, I got a plan. That ain't no plan for me. No, no, no. I remember when I got a wake-up call, y'all. That Ifesino said, Chanchilla. I said, excuse me? I said, excuse me. I said, oh, no, 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 no. No. Word around these streets, you go there, you come back Isifino, Lesbo. That's not me. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Who? That's a dog, right? I don't know nothing about that. Which brings me to a very important fact. Even in the midst of a trial and tribulation, God does miraculous, amazing things for you. Because he did it for me right there. And I just walked out and I was like, hey, how y'all doing today? Y'all see me? I'm all right. And this was my pathway to ascension. Because after that, I said education is the way for me. You know what I'm talking about? I need to get all the knowledge so I know the ledge. You know what I'm talking about? I said, I want to be a lawyer, attorney. I started shooting for the stars. You know what I'm talking about? I can be what I want to be. That, I know I can be what I want to be. And I did. When I entered into the college, that was it. I said, all of this in the world. That was in my 20s. All of this in the world. And I'm just limiting myself. There's so many ways to make money. Why I only know about fast food, the streets, and professional. I only know about these three things. Everybody say they want to be a doctor, they want to be a lawyer. The generation that I gave birth to, they wanted to be ball players. My children didn't grow up and say, I want to be a rapper. None of them. I heard ball. Reese Fall is a baller. He plays basketball. As a youth, that's what he did. And so did my other son and my daughter. They was basketball players. Y'all know I like football. That's my thing, in boxing. I said to my oldest, I want you to play football. He didn't want to play football. He wanted to play basketball. You know? I say that because when we see things, we become inspired by that. That's what we want to be. For me, I didn't see lawyers and doctors unless I was, unless I was in their establishment using their services. I didn't see that. We heard those were the ones that were rich. You get to your adulthood, you find out that there's variables to that. Seasons, obstacles. If somebody would have told you at 18, 17, that by the time you become 30, you'll be a candidate to be a doctor, you would have changed your field. They don't tell you that stuff until you really start focusing on being that. It takes a long time to become a doctor. If you go and you talk to people that really have a doctorate, they'll tell you that. It's a lot of time and a lot of money. A lot of money. These are the things that you're supposed to think about when you are an adolescent. They don't teach that in the hood. They don't say you need to be thinking about what you're going to do in the future, because it may take you from right now to then to become it. If they were to teach like that, it would shift a whole generation. Everybody's tired, everybody's fed up, everybody's child is bad, and I don't want to do it because the parent don't teach, the parent ain't doing something right, the parent barely making it. I know, because I was one of them. You can't go to the basketball games, the retreats, the camps, and work. They give you time off. Yes, you get time off, and then you in some facility trying to get them to help you to pay your bills. Because I didn't get no 8 sections. And when I ran off into the projects, they wanted to take everything I had. I go to work, you know what I'm saying, come home, and my door kicked in. I ain't got nothing already. So the Jets ain't an option. If they did it to me, they surely gonna do it to you. If you see the Keno, because you over there in Sabrani. That is not an option for me. You know what I'm talking about? So I would be quiet. Y'all feel like you from a certain place, right? You from a certain place and there's a jet there. But you're not from those jets. When I was coming up, it was generations upon generations growing up in those jets. So that means your grandmama, your mama, and her children. That's not how I grew up residential. Y'all know what I'm talking about? It's a known fact in San Francisco that if you are residential, you don't go up in no projects. Not like that. Not unless you know a lot of people or they know you. JT the Bigger Figure is an anomaly. You can't do what he do. It's a lot of people that won't do what he do because they know jet politics. Spike Lee went up in West Point. He is well respected. He is also independent. Y'all know Alki David talked about bringing on some independent film producers or something like that. They independent. How that's gonna work? Like, to me, that's like game. Like game, you know. I'm about to game you into a contract. If they listen to me, watch my readings, they ain't going for that game. Why take a piece of the pie when you can have the bakery? You know what I'm saying? You're gonna cut a section of pie out for me, then you're gonna cut that in half. You're gonna take the pie, you're gonna give me half of the slice, and then the one that's making you do all that is gonna be thinking about a whole circle, center, country. You know that big fish eat little fish scenario? There's always somebody before somebody else that got way more bank. When I said I'm trying to be there, I went over all y'all head. I said I want to work for Satan. Y'all did not y'all didn't catch that. I said, he said you already do, and I said for free. I don't want to work for free. We got to talk about this. I started off with Satan. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. He over there talking about, I'm Satan. No, you not, because you ain't got no wealth. You know what I'm talking about? I imagine what he got is wealth does not even explain the kind of finance Satan got, nor his daddy, his father. I didn't say that because, I didn't say I want to work for him because I'm the baby. I like messing with Satan like that. You try it. Y'all want to hear stories about Satan, huh? When I first heard Satan, I was like, Satan, he don't scare me because he's an angel. You know what scared me? That Buddha Kinesia bear that you sleep next to, he's an Ifikino. He got all kind of beings going in and out of his body when he goes to sleep. You ever just look at somebody and say they look kind of strange and unusual? Satan don't look like that. You know what I don't trust? I don't trust beings that decided they were going to be wealthy if they shape and mold generations, timelines, and eras with lies. You over there saying, buy bull, but you want to throw it at me. You know how many times the Bible has been revised? I keep telling y'all that. We don't even know what the original one was like. We couldn't even read it because it's not for us. When I said I had the Torah, I showed y'all, I took a picture of it. I said, this is the one that's for me, for my era, the Torah, not the Torah. I showed you it. Y'all seem to think that I don't have no holy scripture. I have a lot of holy scripture. When y'all go and y'all purchase stuff, it's always self-help. I have 300 ways to make $50. Because that's what you're going to make by the time you receive that. One of those 300 ways he decided was to sell you information that is outdated. The 48 Laws of Power is something that was introduced to me in my 20s. I am almost 50 years old. That is nothing new for me. If you ran across that information in your 20s, that means you are an advanced being because most don't know it. They're going to see something off of that from a meme. Somebody else that decided people need to know it, and this is the only way they're going to pay attention to it, to put it on a picture. When you start realizing that the way the world is not because people are uneducated, it is because people wanted it that way. Somewhere along the line, somebody said, I want all of this group here dumbed down. And then miraculously it happened. Because we only focus in on what things look like. When I said the 6 months cushion, it is because somebody uttered that to me thinking that they were saying something that made sense. You can have 6 months worth of cushion. When they started talking about cushion with me, because they thought they had something. You know, I said 6 months worth of savings. So that means if you possibly lose your job, you got 6 months worth of savings, but we're in a recession. That's a variable, right? Then you working from home, people being furloughed, your hours done been cut drastically. The average person that is a homeowner have several sources of income. That means they have a little bit here, a little bit there. You may not know about them. They got investments, they got bonds, they got stocks. And you sitting here, what it is certain individuals feel like their life is hunky-dory. They got a husband that they don't know is cheating. He worked, she worked. I got a little cushion, 6 months. Let's talk about that. If you making, if you making 40 to 60,000 a year, you saving your mortgage payment and possibly $1,000. So what is that? About 3,000? How long is it gonna take for you to save 3,000? The average person that's working an average job is not saving $3,000 a month. So you got 6 months worth of cushion. So you need to just tell me how much you got in your savings, because I'm about to break it down for you. If he leave, if she leave, if they cut your hours, if you stop doing that isikina that you know is not legit, what you gonna do? The average person, when they a homeowner, they don't want to get up out of their home if it get foreclosed on. They're gonna say, I'm gonna file for bankruptcy. This is what all of them do. I'm gonna file for bankruptcy. I can stay in just a little bit longer. You gonna come up off of it. You for sure gonna get up out of there. I'm trying to tell you. You gonna leave there. Because we don't really truly own nothing. And when you start realizing that we don't truly own nothing, they just make it, they finesse us. We get finessed with, this is yours. You can do what you want in here, maybe. I'm gonna tell you you can. Make you think you can. I told y'all, once everything is paid for, once that $300,000 house is paid for, God willing, because you know you got to put the God willing in it. God willing. You still got every bit of taxes every year. You know, it's kind of like registration. It's yours. We got you, got them. Could you imagine being 102 and having to pay $2,000, $3,000 taxes? Like, come on! I just want to sit in here and gnaw on my cream of wheat. See, I just want to swallow my cream of wheat, you know. But I still got to come up with $3,000. So now people don't feel safe. You know what I'm saying? It's like make you feel uncomfortable. I got a good job right now. But when everything get advanced, I might not. You know what I'm saying? Everything going in the computers, you know? Just sit back and think, am I replaceable? Think about your job description. You know, for instance, this is just for instance. You go to work, you don't do absolutely nothing. You waste everything, you take everything. So when they start trying to cut, because they is, you just got to think. I don't do nothing. I am not an asset to the company. I'm more like a liability. Miraculously, once they fire me, everything's going to go up. Their stock's going to go up. Their inventory. You know, all they got to do is just get rid of me, for instance. Then all of a sudden, he's not safe. Just like that. You know, 6 months worth of cushion. Then, you know, you're where you need to be. So the big G done DC Fino, he done put everyone there under a new contract. You know what I'm saying? Like saved and sanctified by the Holy Ghost. You know? Contract. You done got put there, now you know, you gotta live right. You know? You might have to eat noodles, the chicken ones. Or the, you know, remember the vegetable garden? Y'all know the one kind of like a green. Them things was good. I don't see them no more in the store. It's like a green, like kind of like olive, kind of like something like that. You know, you might have to eat some of them. Put you some beef jerkies in that joint. You know, you might be able to survive. College students do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Apparently. Yeah. I'm just telling you how you could do it, you know? Because they say I'm too expensive. Really? But that $5,000 seminar is not. He just gonna go and tell you everything that somebody told him. And then I'm gonna release the reading that told you that he was gonna do it. That's how it worked, you know? When I said it was all kind of murders and everything happening, nobody said this platform right here. I said that 4 or 5 years ago. Then all of a sudden, everything starts shutting down, rearranging, and computerizing and all of that stuff. And everybody like, what's happening? What's happening? Whoop, 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 whoop. And I done told you already. 3 words. 3 words, that's all it takes. It's so simple, they can't get it. Ether, why are you doing this? It's my job. The free one. Either you don't work for free. I'm making pennies on the dollar right now. Right now, where I'm at. Probably not somewhere else. Probably where she makes money. See, that's where you went wrong the first time. Where I'm possibly making money is not where you're going to make any money. Because the big G want it like that. He wants you way over there. And he want me way here. Y'all need to stop wanting to live everyone else's life. When I told y'all needed to separate, if you have children that are adults, they need to be separated from you during this ascension. Y'all said she trying to break up families. No, it's that Isikano that talks to you every time you close your eyes that wants to break up your family. I'm trying to keep your family together. When you ascend, your family ascends. So that means even if they can't be right there because you don't know what's going on with them. You know what I'm saying? Something might jump in their body that don't like you. I am not joking. Something might jump in their body that don't like you, and then all of a sudden you running for your life. Now it's either was right. You know, I don't want you to learn your lesson that way. When I said some of y'all are being reintroduced back to your family, it is because you ascended the proper way. Those that decided I was the homebreaker, you know, after they recover from getting knocked upside their head, capped and all of that stuff, they decided I was right. Lesson learned. They don't have to do it no more. Now to the individual that wanted a reading. What you need is a past life, present karma energy pool. So CA me 250. And I'm going to get you that reading. You know who you are, Abe Knight. CA me, and I'm going to get you that reading. PEKA 69. That is it.